Hey everybody, and welcome to From My Mother's Basement, the show that celebrates being a geek. I'm Jason.
And I am Michael.
So, we don't want to make this series, this episode, any of this political by any means necessary. But given how what everything happened over the course of the past 24 hours, I think we do need to at least get a brief little statement off of our chests about it, just for our own opinions. Then we can get all to the good geeky nerdy stuff that we're all looking for, and we can just try to get back to normalcy. Michael, do you want to start off?
My viewpoint on it is this. It happened. The person who won. Whether you voted for that individual or not doesn't really matter. That was your choice. That is your right. A lot of people are screaming to the hills, and I think they're losing sight of the big picture. I think the big picture was America slapping Washington, not so much supporting the individual they elected, which is kind of a weird way to go about it. But we have checks and balances for reasons, people. There's only so much this guy can actually do on his own. So I don't think it's going to be as bad as everybody's going to fear. I know. And he's only going to be there for, at most 8 years, but we'll survive. We'll get through it. We've had crooks in the White House before. It's certainly not the first time. Probably won't be the last time. We have checks and balances for a reason. Don't freak out, guys. It's not the end of the world. That's my say on it.
Fair enough.
Oh, and stop kicking people off Facebook just because they didn't vote for your candidate. Who cares?
Social media justice warriors, as I call them.
What's really sad is people who I thought were smarter than that have been proving themselves to be sheeple more and more.
The thing is, though, when all this was going on, I voted, Jess and I voted early in the morning, and we made sure after work, we're like, we're just going to go to Disneyland for a bit because we just want to try to ignore this, because to watch that live would just be aggravating as all hell. So
I didn't watch it.
Unfortunately, we still had people around us with their phones, and of course we were checking ourselves, and so at the end of the day, at 12:30 in the morning Pacific time, it was that happened. So
well, the thing that pissed me off about the election, the stupid light rail passed from my area. They're wanting to run light rail to Tiger that they don't need to run because we've already got a train.
Oh, okay.
We've already got a commuter train. We don't need a freaking light rail.
Right.
But that's a whole other topic.
For me, I'm not happy. I am afraid of actually what can happen. Mainly because it's him. Republicans have access to the majority of the House, Senate. He's going to try to push a lot of things through. I read his first 100 days referendum, whatever he wants to do in the first 100 days. More often than not, 90% of that is bullshit. There's no way we can do that in that time frame. But it definitely makes me worry about not only what's going to happen in Washington, but across the country as is. As soon as it was apparent that he was going to win, there was protests across the country, more so on the West Coast, but there were still some on the East Coast as well, against this. Today, there was unfortunately confirmed reports of Trump voters being attacked. People are they're so caught up on this, understandably so, but they're going to take it to such a degree that's going to degrade the country as a whole. Idiocracy was supposed to be a satire, it was supposed to be a funny movie, not a fucking prophecy.
Documentary, yeah.
Yeah. So
the thing is, and just to try and put a wrap on it, if Hillary had won, you would have had similar reactions from the other side. This was literally a the lesser of two evils is still an evil.
Yes, but
and
go ahead. I'll go.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It sucks that this guy won. Yeah, it would have sucked it would have sucked a little less if she had won, but it still would have sucked.
It still would have sucked. Yes, I think it's more along the lines of, with her, we had an idea of what to expect. With him, it's a completely unknown factor. We have no idea what to expect. So, but we'll see what happens. The country voted. He got elected. Things happen. Now we have to move forward with that. The world is not going to come to an end. It's going to be kind of stressful for quite a while, but it is not the end all be all. Let's just go ahead and just talk about some great nerd and tech and
Enjoy the ride.
stuff. Exactly. Let's do what we can just to try to keep it as positive as we can. And I'll make sure I don't drink. Actually, I'll put that away. This is not the other show where I can drink freely. But let's get to the tech news we were going to talk about Apple's new MacBook Pro lineup. They didn't refresh the iMac. They didn't refresh the Mac Pro. Still working on, 6-year-old hardware. They haven't even done a spec boost on those. But in regards to the laptops, Michael, what were your thoughts on them?
Unimpressed.
Yeah.
Specifically with the one that they were really big on, which was the 13-inch.
Mm-hmm.
The USB-C, USB-C, let me clarify that, had the potential to be a really cool thing. Unfortunately, its implementation left a lot to be desired. Keeping the Thunderbolt ports is a smart idea. The fact that they're not truly downward compatible bothers me. The fact that in order to use something made for Thunderbolt 2 on a Thunderbolt 3 port, you have to get an adapter is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It reeks to me of money grab. The fact that they're throwing all their money and effort at the 13-incher, that's only an inch bigger than the damn iPad Pro.
Yeah.
And has the same resolution, slightly more power. What I wanted to know about were the 15s. And the article that I saw didn't even mention them.
The article that I had linked in there was their review, The Verge's review of the 13. Very few places actually have hands-on reviews of the 15 itself, and I think that's on purpose because Apple is pushing the 13 not only as a MacBook replacement, but also they wanted to use that as like the basis for if you are an Apple fanboy, if you love our products, this is where you want to start at. The 15 is going to be for professionals, but the problem is though, specs aside, it's not that fully impressive. Now I will admit the touch
5K screen's nice.
The touch bar that they have in there with the OLED and whatnot. I like that. I thought that was a sexy little addition to the hardware itself. Is that enough to justify the bump in price from existing or from previous generations of MacBook Pros? No, because I know that Apple's trying to turn things around a little bit in terms of their direction. They've always usually been, you are a creator, you design stuff, you make stuff, you draw stuff. This is where you want to be at because we will support you. We are here for you. With all the different, editing programs and drawing programs, and you would agree that's what they were going for initially for several years.
That was what they were best known for, where they succeeded.
Right. And now it seems more along the lines that the Pro in MacBook Pro stands for professional businessman, middle management, who likes Apple products. I mean, the hardware is still nice, but
the hardware is still spec'd enough to be able to do the art stuff, though.
It is, but that's not really seem to be their focus anymore, contrary to what they had during their press conference for that. So, hey, look, we have this cool little touch bar. Let's bring a DJ out and do some cool stuff with it. I highly doubt any professional DJ or amateur DJ is going to try to use just the touch bar to do stuff like that.
They're not going to use just the touch bar, but I could see where it would be, knowing some people who do that type of thing, I could see where it would be useful. But
especially because when, they're trying to push now, like, the iPad Pro to be, like, the entry-level system. Like, it'll go now iPad Pro, then MacBook Pro 13, then MacBook Pro 15. But still, it's not as...
The Oompa Loompas ran out of Steve's notes.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I think happened. The Oompa Loompas are lost.
That's true.
And oh God, what is his name? The guy who runs Apple now, Cook.
Tim Cook.
Tim Cook is I don't know. They really need to turn some stuff around. That being said, Microsoft, I think we're getting ready to see a bit of a paradigm shift in that what Microsoft tossed out in response or preemptively with the Surface Pro 4, that's a hell of a machine.
No, that
Unfortunately, it's at MacBook prices.
Yes.
But it's a hell of a machine, and it's touchscreen.
Mm-hmm. No, it was a sexy piece of hardware, no doubt about it. It's just one of those... It's odd that Apple would try to shy away from what used to be their bread and butter and kind of just giving it to Microsoft, which has always been known for being about business, kind of the whole IBM attitude as well. But
it's always been word processing and spreadsheets and databases. But now the lines are blurring really heavily.
Yeah.
And if Mac wants to get the deep penetration they're looking to get in the market, they kind of have to do some of this.
No,
I mean, how many people know that Mac actually makes rack servers and has for over 15 years?
I used to have one back in the day.
We had one at the Expo office, if you recall.
Mm-hmm. It would just...
And, I mean, Apple makes these products at that level, but very few people know of them outside of the creative community.
Right.
And if, their market penetration is, hovering around 25% now?
I would say even less than that.
Okay. So I thought they were hitting 20. But they need to get themselves into the market deeper. And especially after the...
Well, with them trying to get
fuck that was the iPhone 7.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about that real quick, there's always been the rumors that they're already working on the 8. They may even just skip.
Bring the headphone jack back?
No, but the rumor is, given some of the companies that they are working for, and Apple fanboys out, they'd love to peer into stuff and assume things that are probably so far fetched. But this one, I kind of see there's some merit to this one. There was a company at CES in 2015 that was showcasing a new way to wirelessly charge devices. Because right now, like you see, mainly with like a Samsung Galaxy phones when they're not catching on fire, is the wireless charging, but you need to have just like a little pad, like a little dock, and you just put the phone on top of it. There has to be a direct connection between that. Yes. They found a way to essentially create a wireless energy bubble that if you have this battery and this receiver built into your device, if it is within like 20 feet of the base station for this thing, it will wirelessly charge. You can just keep your phone in your pocket and continue on because it'll charge like normal.
Them sounds like voodoo magic Tesla tricks to me.
They had such a attention at CES 2015 that a lot of companies started talking to them. They said in their latest earnings report that they were working with a, quote, AAA hardware developer for an upcoming device. And a lot of people are like, you guys were just talking to Tim Cook no less than 3 months ago. What's going on here? So maybe if the 8 has that, I think that's what they kind of need to push beyond the faded design that you have right now. Because the design of it hasn't changed since the S. Or since the 6, I'm sorry.
The design is fine. I don't really have a problem with the design. The problem... I understand everybody's frustration over the whole headphone jack thing. I mean, Sony's been making waterproof phones...
for years.
That have an actual headphone jack for years. Here's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing, you could drop it... you drop it in the toilet. Oh, it sucks you dropped it in the toilet. Rinse it off, shake it off, dry it off. It works fine.
Right.
As long as you got the little side sealed. And there's no reason Apple couldn't have done that.
No, I agree. And they definitely love to do the whole, what makes us, what drives us to be such forward-facing, such future-facing. Courage. No bullshit. You want to have, you see dollar signs. You want adapters. You want to, have everyone have like 4 or 5 different dongles in their backpack. Apple is now a dongle manufacturing company rather than anything else at this point. I mean, hell,
I
because
think
even
that's a
after
bit
the
of an
announcement with the
overstatement, but
MacBook
yeah.
with the MacBook Pro, people were fanboys are so pissed off about it. They actually went out and heavily discounted all the USB-C dongles that you would need for an upcoming MacBook Pro, and they even discounted the Sharp or LG, whoever they teamed up with, that 5K standalone monitor. They discounted that heavily as well to try to appease that. But at the same time, though, that's only a stopgap measure.
Hmm.
Are things going to eventually be moving this way? Yes. Does it need to be there going there this fast? Probably not. That's just a money grab at this point. But I think we've talked a little at length about this topic
The
already.
horse is becoming a smear.
Yeah, basically. Should we get to some movie news though?
Sure, let's talk movies.
Go for it, Michael.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll take this bullet. So, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is coming out shortly. I am greatly looking forward to this movie. I want to see it. They have already started working on number 2.
Out of 5,
And
right?
What?
Out of 5, right?
I don't remember. Probably. I don't remember the full number.
Mm-hmm.
What's amusing about it is that they're pulling in an actor that you wouldn't expect, specifically Johnny Depp. And what's even better is Johnny Depp ain't playing a good guy.
Mm.
He's apparently, I think his name's Grimwald. Let me check again. Hang on.
Grindelwald.
Oh, no. What?
Grindelwald.
Grindelwald. That's it. Thank you. And they went for him because the actors or the directors, producers said that they went for Depp not because of his popularity, but because of his talent, because of the depth they wanted for this character. Which, love him or hate him, you can't deny the fact that Depp can act.
He is talented, yes.
Well,
But to try to give lip service like that at this age, you want the box office receipts to be as high as possible. You can bring someone like him.
I mean, I think word's gotten out that he has a cameo in the first one
Yeah.
as this character.
Plus, he's also going to have additional star status at the point, or at least a lot of people talk about it in Hollywood, because you have the upcoming Pirates 5 coming out. So, I mean, he's still hot in the news. He still can draw a crowd. He can still bring box office numbers through the roof. So it makes perfect sense from a business standpoint to bring him in. I'm not doubting his acting ability whatsoever. He can act. It's just, don't try to say this is one thing in reality it's actually another.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that, and I was talking about this this last week on Geeks and Drinks, that bringing in Gellert Grindelwald is going to be great, because then you also have to bring in Dumbledore. And they also confirmed that Dumbledore will be showing up, I think it was in movie 2, moving forward, because these two characters in the lore basically were really good friends. They had planned for a lot of different things, and then there was an epic battle between the two of them, which resulted in Dumbledore getting the Elder Wand. So now that we're actually able to see that on the big screen, I'm looking forward to that more than when I saw Harry Potter take on Voldemort.
I still haven't seen the last Harry Potter movie, by the way.
Ah, well then I will not say anything about
I think
that.
I'm actually 2 movies behind.
Then you have a lot to catch up
But
on,
I'm
as
current
do
on
I.
Westworld, so there you go.
Yes, we will get to that shortly about that. I
am thrilled about what we're talking about next, though, which is getting to see Keaton put on spandex again.
Ah,
Of
yes.
sorts.
He's coming back as Birdman in 2. No.
Actually, kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda. He's going to be in the new Spider-Man movie.
Which has been confirmed for a while that he signed on to play a major part in it. It was heavily rumored that Vulture was going to be the main villain. So a lot of people were like, 2 and 2 together. We know Keaton can act. We know Keaton would do an excellent Vulture. And they just finally came out and confirmed it. Yes, he's playing Vulture. You guys already knew this. I was like, oh, cool. Awesome. I'm happy for this.
He's another one of those actors that has an incredible range, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so
Like, I'm curious.
I'm looking forward to it.
Like, what was the other movie that came out? It was kind of like a smaller indie. It was a
Well, there was
biopic.
Birdman.
It was Birdman, but then he also did. I think he was the main character. I can't remember the act.
Are you talking
The
about Pacific Heights?
no 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 no
Because he was the bad guy in that movie.
no the McDonald's one. So there was a biopic that came out very recently where he's actually playing the guy who started the whole franchise of McDonald's itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He's playing Kroc. Ray Kroc.
yeah. Real estate guy turned into, yeah. It's been huge Oscar buzz about it. I'm looking forward to checking that out. I haven't had the chance to go see it in theaters. More often than that, at this point, I'm gonna have to wait till it comes out on Blu-ray or Netflix. Shouldn't be too much longer, but it's just an example of he can go to those extremes and different types of character roles, and he just surpasses at all of them. I think it's going to be, fantastic to see him in there. There's already people throwing out, bits of what they think or they're claiming as concept art. There's too many out there to really share for the sole fact that there's so many people out there who are talented enough to I'm going to draw this painting and I think it's going to be how it's going to look. We're going to call it the official concept art, even though I'm not related to the movie whatsoever, and no one's going to know, no one's going to know the difference until we see the official reveal. But I'm still happy for that. I mean, combine that.
It should be fun.
Combine that with the fact that I just totally forgot his name. The guy who's playing Spider-Man now.
I don't remember his name either.
I'm a horrible person for
British guy.
Yes, but he.
Have you noticed the trend of British people playing superheroes lately?
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Got this guy as Spidey. You got what's his name? Cavill as Soups, who did a great job, by the way.
He did. Benedict Cumberbatch was amazing as Doctor Strange.
I want to see that.
I'll get to that at the end. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the actor, God, I'm horrible. I can't remember his name. He recently revealed that he's actually signed for 6 Marvel picture deal. So he's going to be around for a while.
He's got to be. There was a point where Spidey was in the Avengers,
mm-hmm.
and they've got the crossover.
Mm-hmm.
Official.
Sorry, Tom Holland. I just remember his name.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Tom's going to be around for 6 pictures. No word yet if his Civil War appearance was actually part of that 6-picture deal. So, I mean, if anything, he's going to run for a while. He's going to be with his solo Sony Spider-Man movies. He's also part of the, official part of the MCU. So, the upcoming Avengers 4 and whatever movie he decides to pop in, I think it's going to be great. Cannot wait. Which makes me wonder, will Michael Keaton stick around for additional movies? Because, I mean, you don't need
Depends
to
on what they do to Vulture.
You don't need to kill off Vulture. You could just... There's multiple ways to keep
they have a nasty habit of killing off bad guys, and that's what kind of annoys me.
Well, Marvel's had that problem.
I mean, in the case of Ultron, you kind of had to. But, okay, they didn't kill off Loki, so I'll give them points for that. Mm-hmm. But that's because Loki's just such a fun character.
Yes. I just look at it more along the lines of Marvel has and a lot of websites have agreed with this, Marvel has a villain problem. They are all cookie cutter. They are all forgettable. They are all bad enough to be, or evil enough, I should say, to pose some sort of minor threat enough for the heroes to give a damn about, but nothing big enough to where they can't do like a Blofeld from the 007 series that he's always there, but he's just in the background and moving on.
And they don't have their version. They don't have their equivalent of a Joker or a Penguin or.
The closest thing they have is Thanos, and the thing is, they've been hyping him in the background for so long that by the time he's actually on the screen,
the actor's going to be too old to play the part.
Josh Brolin, yeah. But it's more along the lines of, you are not going to be able to live up to the hype. You're going to see a giant purple man in a very gilded outfit and floating, chair. I think he's probably just, some elderly man who just likes to be a bit fashionable at times. I have no idea what to expect at that point, but that's the closest thing to an ongoing villain that Marvel has in the MCU at this point.
Well, Fox is doing a real good job with Magneto.
Well, that's because you have amazing actors, playing that role.
Yeah, but the way he's written too, though.
True.
I mean, I saw Apocalypse and I actually liked it, which I know makes me a heathen, but I actually enjoyed it.
Nothing wrong with that.
The only thing that bothers me about X-Men is that they're playing the whole anti-hero thing oddly with Magneto and Mystique, but that's another topic.
Yeah, we can go on for another episode about all that.
Notable bad guys in the current MCU. Trying to think who all there is, because now Venom was the Tobey Maguire years, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That was in
Venom.
two.
Venom as a character, or at least the symbiote suit,
right,
would be classified as a really good bad guy.
Yes.
Loki is a great bad guy. But other than that, they don't really have their version of a Lex Luthor or a Joker or anything. They need something like that, and I don't think Marvel has one.
No,
they have an anti-hero.
And I don't think they're going to be
Deadpool, but Deadpool's not really a bad guy.
No,
I mean he is, but he isn't.
Just an anti-hero, basically.
Yeah.
At that point, I can see them not creating a brand new character, a brand new, evil, but I can see them taking a villain from the Marvel Universe and just retconning his entire backstory and actually weaving that within the MCU beyond a movie or two.
To do that.
We'll have to see what happens going on moving forward with that.
Well, case in point, Thanos. They've been slowly planting him more and more. And it's clear they're leading up to the Infinity Wars. I mean, they've even said, yes, we're heading to the Infinity Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't know. We need more information about it. I agree with Sega Fan in the chat who stated, wouldn't it be nice if they made a Thanos Rising Netflix series just to give us more background?
That would be pretty awesome.
I think that would be awesome. I think that would be very cool for them to do something like that. Are we realistically going to get something like that? No. More often than not, they're probably going to say, well, they can't even say just read the comics because they're already...
they're making money off of... They're doing really well with Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones did pretty well. Daredevil's kicking ass.
Yeah. They're just... they already wrapped up principal photography for...
Iron Fist?
No, not Iron Fist. They're already in post. Like that's pretty much a package deal ready to get going. The Punisher standalone series.
Oh yes.
They start production on Defenders. I think next week or this week, something like that. Like it's going pretty fast. So who knows? Maybe we'll see something in the future. I will give that spoiler ending for the comic what the end result of Thanos' rule is, but you can just read that giant 1,400-page epic. So yeah. There is something I do want to talk about real quick before we get onto like BlizzCon and whatnot. Is something I've been looking forward to for a while. If you guys were here in the pre-show, you heard me talking about it a little bit. Makoto Shinkai's Your Name, his latest film, has been breaking box office records in Japan, left, right, and center. It's already made almost 18 billion yen worldwide. We're talking about just under about 175, 180 million dollars. It is like I think fourth highest grossing film in Japan, like Japan's film history or something like that. It had its premiere at Anime Expo this past summer, and it got 3 standing ovations. It was absolutely amazing. Not a dry eye in the house. So many cut onions, but the fact that Funimation at AX said they picked up the licensing rights to it and they will be showing it in U.S. theaters this year, that was a great sign. I told everyone I knew that would actually appreciate it. It's like, we are going to this. I don't care if we all have to buy a bulk rate and rent out the goddamn theater itself. We are all going to go see this thing. It is just that good. And apparently we are going to get that option because not only is Funimation doing the theatrical run just for the fans to get out there, but also there's a much bigger role for that. The whole idea for having a theatrical run of this movie in U.S. theaters in this calendar year is because it makes them eligible for Oscar contention or Oscar consideration.
And not as a foreign film.
No, and that's the big kicker right there because now
it's already eligible as best foreign film.
Right,
but by releasing it in the States.
Mm-hmm. Well, because if I remember correctly, when you go for best foreign film, each country can only submit a single film at that time. And I think Japan already picked a film that they want to submit as that for next year's Oscars. With it being screened here in the States, specifically in LA, now it can be possibly up for nomination against Disney, against Pixar, against any of these other major animated films that have come out over the past year. I know there really hasn't been, correct me if I'm wrong, but there has not been a Japanese animated film that has won the animation Oscars since Spirited Away.
No, that's it. Everything else, it's pretty much been Disney from there.
Mm-hmm. Could this do well? Very much so. I know last year, the Tale of Princess Kaguya from Studio Ghibli was nominated, but it was going against Disney Powerhouse. I don't think there was a way for that to beat that. This, I think, may have a chance. Like, is it a guaranteed? It would be nice to see a
non-Ghibli anime film get an Oscar.
That would be amazing.
That would be a good thing to see.
That'd be so good. I cannot wait. So if you guys cannot, just wrap this one up real quick. So if you guys have not had a chance did not see this at Anime Expo, I feel sorry. You should have seen it. It was amazing. If you cannot make it and you're not in the LA area for the 1 week that it's being shown in a US theater, probably the Downtown Independent, I think. No, I'm sorry. It says here in the article, Los Angeles Lamel Music Hall. I have no idea where that's at. From December 2nd through the 8th. I'm going to have to go ahead and figure that one out. See if I can find out what's going on with that. But if you cannot make it during...
It's a larger facility than the Independent.
Oh, well, there we go. That's always a good thing. If you cannot make that, no fear. Funimation has already confirmed they are planning a much broader theatrical release across the country in the first quarter of 2017 before it comes out on Blu-ray. So you will have chances to go see it. You may have to wait a little bit longer if you're not in the area. Go see this film. It was amazing. Can we talk about Blizzcon real quick? Because it was kind of...
It was kind of meh this year. I mean, I don't know if it's because of Metzen leaving, but there was some really cool stuff announced, but there was not any one OMFG, this is the BlizzCon moment, like there was when they announced Legion, or when they announced Overwatch, or, there was no big reveal. I mean, their only thing that really, they revealed Sombra, which is a cool character and has a neat story, but for Overwatch. They're announced that they're finally bringing the Necromancers into Diablo 3. That's pretty cool.
They're also redoing the first Diablo in the Diablo 3 engine.
That I would look forward to, especially with all the cow level. I want the cow level. But they announced the next Hearthstone expansion, Streets of Gadgets, which looks pretty cool. But the thing that I'm not sure how I feel about it, and I heard about it. I watched their promo info on it, and I see that this has potential, but they're actually trying to form a honest-to-God sports league, esports league.
I'm actually looking forward to this. You're talking about...
I think it's not... Well, I mean, they're even doing the same... Like, they're announcing... They're offering franchises. So people, people can buy teams in major cities, which, on the one hand, it's really awesome that esports is getting to the point where this can be a thing.
Yes.
I mean, if you watch their video, they're talking about they're offering... for the players, they're offering contracts with actual honest-to-God pay and benefits.
Yeah, and, having a salary.
They're trying to put it up as a legitimate career path. It would be interesting to see a sport not dominated by an Asian country,
which I thought was actually
which is not knocking
No, no,
the
no.
Asian community at all.
And
It's
I
just
thought that was actually going to
they
happen
tend to
this year.
dominate esports.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, in Korea, it's been a national sport. I mean, StarCraft's been a national sport for over a decade, you
yeah.
know. And
Isn't it
so
that they have, because I know they have a mandatory 2-year military service if like within your like the age of 20 or something like that. But if you're a professional esports player, you can actually get out of that or something like that.
I don't think
Some
that's why
weird
they do
rule
it.
or something like that.
You out of my knowledge base.
Okay.
I don't know, man. But I think it's got the potential to be really cool because I do enjoy watching people play Overwatch. I wish, and not that you're ever going to watch this, Blizz, but if you ever do, make it so that you don't have to buy Overwatch to watch Overwatch.
No, I don't think they'll actually do something like that. This is
It
definitely
would be nice if they did, though, because, you know, I've still got it downloaded from the beta, and it still updates regularly, but I haven't paid for the actual game yet. So I can't even watch it unless I go to Twitch, and I don't like really watching it on Twitch because, I mean, until we get some really good announcers out there.
And that's going to happen with time because now the fact that you have Overwatch being played, there's several dozen major tournaments going on all over the world at this point. They just had their first Overwatch World Cup that ended at Blizzcon, and I was so hoping that, and it was actually a very real possibility of a non-Asian team taking it all. And for a while, I thought it was Team USA, and then they sucked after a while.
No, it's Europe.
I thought
Europe. Yeah, Europe and Asia dominate.
I thought it for a while was going to be Russia, and then South Korea spanked them. So I was just like, oh, god damn it! They're chalk another one. Let's see, that'll be StarCraft 2, now Overwatch. Now
So see, and that's I don't have a problem with that. I mean, the idea of making it an international league, I endorse 100%. Because and the fact that Blizzard is actually willing to put their money where their mouth is to go for this, I think is potentially a really cool thing. It's also got the potential to turn into the next, was it the USA League or whatever the second football league they tried to put out was?
Oh, what was it, like the XFL or something like that?
That was one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a couple attempts. One of which was actually Donald Trump owned a team did, but that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I definitely like to see where this is going. I mean, the fact that you're starting to see esports being taken more seriously and actually being broadcasted
yeah, that's becoming legitimized. I think is a good thing.
TBS has a weekly esports tournament series that they have. It's on Friday nights. ESPN now has a dedicated esports team to go on this. You actually can go to their Facebook page, and they actually have a lot of nice insight into everything. You have gaming centers popping up all over the place. Like there's one down in Santa Ana here that was designed specifically for esports. They have a little arena and everything, and it's fairly legitimate, fairly profitable business. I think it's actually a very cool thing to happen. Now, is esports ever get to the level of, like, say, join the Olympics? God, no. But it doesn't have to be. That could be something totally separate, and I'm perfectly happy with that. It's like it's like the same yahoos who turn around and try to say, yeah, it's such a thinking sport. You need to bring poker into the Olympics. I'm like, you are high. Which in several countries, several states now, you can, but
it's not a physical sport in the sense of the Olympics. Now, that being said, neither's golf, but still.
True, but that's a whole other story we can get into. There's plenty of other things we wanted to bring up, but I know you have a strong cutoff time for tonight. So before we get to like what we're watching and what the project we're working on, I did want to make a quick mention that we're talking about 35, Michael.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, Nintendo, you already had my heart at Nintendo Switch much earlier than that. And anybody who's been watching me, with podcasts for years has known me to go back and forth on what type of portable, what handheld device I always want to pick up. Only I picked up the PSP just to hack it successfully. And then I've acquired a Nintendo DSi. That's the only thing I've ever had. I went back and forth with the 3DS and the Vita. The Vita died. I just never picked up a 3DS until now. Because Nintendo made an announcement of a special edition version of the new Nintendo 3DS. I need to make that clarification there. This cool, what do they call it, a Mushroom Kingdom design, or I forget exactly what the words were, will be available in all retail stores for a nice low price of $99.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Michael, you bought one of the 3DSs when they first came out, right? For like what, 100?
The new 3DS when
yes.
it came out for I want to say 300. No, it was 200. I don't remember what it was, but yes, I bought the new 3DS when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
The hardware's good. I really like it. The fact that it can play all the way back to standard DS games is nice.
That is a very nice feature to it.
Well, case in point, I can play Phantasy Star Zero on it.
Hey,
and do.
Nice.
It's a really good unit. And it finally supports WPA networks, which is really nice.
That's helpful. Now I know with this version though, like this is the 3DS model, not the 3DS XL. If that's a deal breaker for you guys, you can always buy the XL version, but that's $200. That's twice the price. Honestly, I'm fine with the smaller screen.
XL. Mine is an XL.
Ooh, that's nice. But at a $99 price point, I think it's gonna be enough to pull me in. Finally.
Yeah.
Right after the end of its console life, because they're coming out with the Switch.
Yeah, but I think the 3DS will still stick around for a while.
Oh, it'll stick around for quite a while. Nintendo's been
just for
known.
the back catalog, if nothing else.
Exactly. There are so many games that have come out on the 3DS console itself since its inception that I've pretty much never got in on. Now I'll have a chance.
Well, that and all the DSi games. I mean, literally, you can play that thing. It's the PS. It's what the first gen PS3 was. You know, because with first gen PS3, you could play all the PS2 games because it had the PS2 hardware in it,
right.
Which meant that it could play all the PS1 hardware.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the reason I went out of my way to get that generation of PS3 was because I could play all my PS games all the way back to Bloody Roar.
That's awesome, actually. To be able to go back to that whole back catalog. That's just, it doesn't have to have the latest graphics, but if the gameplay and the story is there, you will play it over and over and over again. That's all that matters. Well, because I know we're Shenmue. Gotta love it. Still have my copy for the Dreamcast. So I know we're wrapping up on or getting to that cutoff time, Michael. So do you want to talk about what you've been working, what you've been watching on, or do you want to talk about that article from Asahi Shimbun?
Let's save that one for next time.
You got it.
Although it is a funny article.
It is a funny article, but it'll still be funny when we talk about it next episode.
What I've been watching, I'm current on Westworld. It's awesome. What's kind of surprising me is Maeve is turning into a more interesting character than Dolores.
At this point, yes. I know we only have 4 episodes to go, so there's a lot of storylines that need to be tied up, hopefully kind of neatly before the end of it all.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
I can already see, and a lot of people can already guess, what's going to happen with Dolores, but with Maeve, I really want to see where she's going with this. Because there are several ways that could possibly end up, and even probably ways I haven't even thought of yet.
I'm having visions of Che Guevara, but you know. What's fun, the thing is, at the same time, it reveals one hell of a huge plot hole. With Maeve, I mean, they could have solved that whole problem very easily, but they didn't. And if they had, it wouldn't have been an interesting story. So there you go.
Right.
What I'm kind of worried about is Ellie.
Yeah, Ellie is
that last scene. Oh my God! I thought the thing with the head of narrative was hilarious.
Oh no, that was great.
That was awesome.
It's gotta be a rainstorm.
What's really interesting. What's surprising is the apparent twist they're throwing with Hopkins' character.
with Dr. Ford about
The thing with Robert
holding on to
and
the
the
past,
dog.
shall we say?
The what?
Holding on to the past, shall we say?
Well, not only that, but how the past is not doing what it's supposed to.
Right.
The thing with Robert and the dog is what really sticks in my brain.
I'm very curious about where this is going to go, and we try not to spoil it too much on these shows because you guys just need to check these things out. But it definitely is just coming to a point where shit's either going to go down very wrong very fast, or we're going to see some like Game of Thrones level massacre.
I'm hoping they don't do the whole kill off characters just for the sake of killing them off thing, though.
I don't think they'll get to that point, but they do have the potential. They do have that option. Now, will they do that? I kind of hope they don't.
Well, they've got 5 years of story written out. They've got, or mapped out. They've got an ending they could throw in at any point. But as popular as it's doing, or as it is rather, as well as it's doing, I don't think they're going to kill it. It's going to be this. If they keep the quality where it is now, it will be the successor to it'll slide into Game of Thrones spot once Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, no, I have no doubt in my mind that they're definitely going to get to that point where they're just going to take over the mantle at any rate. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I know, Michael, you're thoroughly enjoying it. If you guys have not checked it out yet,
Nikki's enjoying it, and she doesn't like sci-fi.
And that's a big thing at that point too. So
yeah,
I cannot wait for Sundays now. It's annoying because in the age of Netflix, where I can just binge everything I want, to be able to have to wait every single week like I'm caught up on a goddamn anime is excruciating at times.
Speaking of which, have you watched Occultix 9?
I have not yet. It is on my to-watch list.
It's interesting. We'll talk about it more later.
Okay, well, we'll definitely talk about that probably next episode or down the line. There's just several things out there that I'm catching up on. Let's put it this way. A coworker decided on his lunch break he wanted to check out new anime, and I happened to walk by his desk, and he was watching an anime called Keijo. If you know what I'm talking about, you know that's a bad thing. If you don't, go to crunchyroll.com and check that out.
Keijo? K-A-G-O?
K-E-I-J-O.
Kaijo.
Kaijo. Oh, sorry.
Kaijo.
American. Sorry. It's yeah. Michael, you will actually love it. It's actually hilarious. I enjoy it as well, but the premise is just ridiculous.
Are you talking about Kaji, the Ultimate Gambler?
I'll send you the link after
or
the
Kaiju
show.
Girls?
Keijo.
K-E-I. Oh, I just typed in the wrong thing.
Yeah.
There it is.
The other one I'm watching is Drifters. Drifters is great because
that show.
Yeah. You was that at work.
The butt show. Jeez.
Yeah. Drifters is a blast. It is Kota Hirano's next work after Hellsing, and it has the same visual style. It has the same level of action and detail, and it's everything you want, including the comedy that you had that was somewhat sorely lacking in Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate. It's just right there. It's a ton of fun. Go check it out.
Cool. Is it also Studio Madhouse?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to.
Speaking of Studio Madhouse and stuff, I don't have it handy. There is a new Black Lagoon book out.
Oh?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I picked it up the other day at Powell's and read it and devoured it and see the animated version of it. It takes place immediately after Roberta's Revenge.
Oh, even better. Yeah, I'm going to have to... Yeah.
And it involves a hacker, so it plays right to our hearts.
Even better. All right.
Unfortunately, on that note, we need to wrap.
We do. Guys, it's just always a blast to hang out with you. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and tolerating us, I guess, as it were, because sometimes we know we like to ramble and rant on, but it's all in good fun. For the most part. Yeah, I think so.
We like to think so anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We're just deluding ourselves, but either way, you're still watching it. Thank you very much. Anyways, anything else we should wrap up with, Michael, or we're going to call it at that?
Remember to breathe, folks. The end of the world is not nigh.
Just go,
Let's leave it there.
Yeah, just go out there, watch your TV, watch anime, play video games, watch movies, read books, whatever. Just keep breathing, like Michael says. Things will get better. It's gonna be a little rough here and there, but overall, we'll always have anime. Well, hopefully.
We'll always have tech.
Yes, there we go. We'll always have tech. Yes. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us as always. For this basement, I'm Jason,
and I am Michael,
and we'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody.
Bye, guys.